G'day guys, it's Mark here and welcome to Iron Empire. In this episode, we throw a bunch of new parts at Andy's Beta Bronco. We start the bodywork and we throw in a few tips along the way. So starting off today, guys, we want to get stuck into this 351. We want to sort this thing out. It is not a turnkey truck, and we want to turn it into a turnkey truck. First things first, I'm going to back this thing out. I'm going to hose this thing out, clean as a whistle, and at least we're not working on greasy old shit. We're going to put a brand spanking new Carby on this thing. Excited about that. However, I want to get a bit of filler on this bonnet as well. We want to swap this bonnet over. This thing, I've seen less holes in Swiss cheese. So I want to start knocking a few of these little dents out, get a little bit of fiberglass filler on these dents to smooth it out. The truck's going to start looking way better. Let's get stuck into this right now. All right, so here's obviously a used bonnet we got from Mark F100 Spares. It's pretty rust-free. That's the main thing that I was worried about. It has got a few little dings on it. I'd rather deal with a few dings than rust. Rust can always come back unless you treat this thing to the absolute highest level, which I definitely will not be doing. There's more chance of rust coming back than a dent coming back. So let's get started on that. Alright, so this bonnet looks like it's had a respray at some stage. Paint is coming off super easy, which is good. I'm going to work on a few little spots. There's a little dent here. I can't get to it from the back side, so we're just going to deal with that with some fiberglass filler. A little bit of repair that I've done there and also here. We're going to buzz these areas back first, give them a skin of filler, then we'll carry on with de-painting the rest of the bonnet while this stuff's drying so we can work between the two. Alright, bonnet's off, we can see what we're doing now. We've got to get rid of all this crap. Big clean up. I'm going to blow a bunch of the loose stuff out before it goes down into the Carby. We'll wrap that up real good. We're going to blast this down with some hot pressure water. Alright guys, so as you'll see, we've had a good clean up under here, let it dry for a little while we had some lunch, and much nicer. Also, it makes it much easier to identify where some of the leaks are going to be once we start running this thing a bit more consistently, which there's definitely going to be some leaks. I also just done a bit of a declutter in the wiring situation. All this was running that pair of big oversized novelty headlights in the front, the big spotties. I hate messy wiring and messy pipes and shit like that. This does need a good tidy up, which can be super time consuming. It not only makes it just look visually ugly, it makes it so hard to understand what the hell's going on. So if you've got trying to do some fault finding, especially on the side of the road, and you've got an engine bay that looks like spaghetti, you're in for a hell of a time. Now, don't throw any of this shit out because later on in the build, we're highly likely going to need some red, green, black, or yellow wiring. So always keep your leftover wiring. I'm going to just go ahead and solder a couple little spots here that look a bit shitty, which are going to the coil, and then we're going to swap this carby over.
So just undoing the last bolts here to get this carby off. It's all clogged up and rubbish. Needs a carby kit or something. So I'm going to steal the one Mark brought for his F-150, which is a quick fill 750. So it should run better, and hopefully this will be a reliable Bronco.
Fussiness in me can't bear to put a fresh shiny carby on this absolute shit box of a motor. Roadkill styles, can't do it. So I'm gonna we've cleaned it up and it looks somewhat clean. We're gonna just at least paint the manifold while it's all apart, so it might seem a bit ridiculous, but I've got some leftover blue from when Charlie and I were playing around with one of his old F trucks. Bit of Cleveland blue. I wouldn't call it Cleveland blue, it's old Ford blue. Definitely not right. But we're going to give this a bit of a lick. Now, usually with engine paint, I'd like to do it all properly, which is using like an Epitech primer on it, and then which is a 2-pack, rub it all back, and then 2-pack color and everything like that. But we're just doing a clean up. At least a little bit of effort now, even though it's a half-hearted job, it's still going to be better down the track because we'll at least be able to see if there's any leaks and stuff like that. It's going to look a little bit tidier, and we're also not this time around. We'll pull the rock covers off later on, do them up, put some new rock cover gaskets on it, and we'll slowly get through it. This motor's never coming out unless we break it properly, so all we can do is tidy it as we go. So I'm going to heat this thing up so that the primer sticks nice. And like I said, it doesn't matter if we get a bit of overspray on the rock covers because we'll pull them off next time, put some new gaskets on it, and maybe give them a bit of a tidy up while they're apart as well. Yeah, I like that. I was expecting navy blue. That's a bit fucking out there.
Do you want a bit of black?
I'm gonna do a bloody blend. That's completely right. That looks like shit. Alright, so we sprayed a little bit of blue on there and it looked terrible. So this is how my brain works. I put the blue on there, which I thought was going to be the wrong blue, but a different blue than it actually is. So then I put some black over top to see if the darker blue would look better, and it does. So now I've mixed up, I found a darker blue that is still the wrong blue, but it's the blue that I thought it was going to be, but still wrong. Anyway, I'm going to spray this over so it looks better, and then we'll finally get this bloody carby on. Oh, I'm an idiot. Rattle pack clear, cheap and nasty, but it's going to look so much better. All right, guys, so we're now ready to throw some fuel at this 351 Cleveland, and we're going to do that in the form of a quick fuel 750 vac secondary carby. So basically it's essentially a Holly. I bought this for my F-150, which has got a 400 in it. I wanted to go a bit bigger than the base 600 that everyone runs. So Andrea's getting it, as per usual, just gets some good parts. And this thing is mint. It looks way too good for the rest of the car. Look at this thing. So good. Fresh gasket. The freshest of carbies. Look at that. Wow. The carby is literally touching the manifold. Butterflies won't open. Alright guys, it's that time of the year again. It's starting to get chilly. Now recently I put out a bunch of zip-up jackets and they have nearly all sold out. But good news is I now have new hoods in stock. Now I've got these Judge hoods in. The tees were absolute hotcakes. So we've got with the hoodie, we've got the Iron Empire on the sleeve, and of course the decoy on the back. So once again, on quality garments, absolutely stoked on these. I thought I'd give them a run, see how you guys like them. Not only that, I have grey in OG. If you're after just an OG top, we've got the grey hoodie with In Rust We Trust on the rear. Now these are only available in super limited sizes and numbers. So if you're keen on those, jump in the online store right now and check them out. Also, we have one more addition to the channel. Check this out. So you guys all know Judge, and now he's got a little sister, Winnie. So this is little Winnie. She's a 10-week-old border collie, and she is beautiful. So we got her to keep Judge. We got her to keep Judge company when we're not home, which is hardly ever. But yeah, so far they're playing awesome. His big brother, she's absolutely running amok, and we love her to bits already. All right, guys, let's get stuck back into this Bronco video. That's an adapter. It's not the right one, but it should space it. Might work. Alright, trying again. So here you'll see me shaping up some filler with an orbital sander. Now we only do this on cars that we don't need to be super fussy on. If you want this dead straight, you need to use a sanding block. But for the old Bronco, this will be perfectly fine. Alright guys, back on the bonnet now. This thing has been sitting for quite a few hours. I hit this with a 2-pack high fill primer and I put some rocket hardener in it, which is an accelerator. It's used for crush work. It really speeds up the process. Now we're gonna start blocking this back and see how straight it is. It's probably not that straight, but we'll see how good it comes up and see what we have to do. So I'm gonna hit this with a guide coat. I like to use powder guide coat. It's a little bit more accurate. A lot of people will spray with a black. This is the dusty version. We're gonna hit this up now. I'm gonna block this with a 120, I reckon, and we'll see how it's looking. Okay guys, now just having a quick look at this bonnet. I'll show you what to look for and what I'm looking for in particular. So as you'll see, the black dust, it shows all the low spots, and where the flat spots are is all rubbed out where it's nice and bright. Now, there's a few shallow spots you'll see like this. You can see there's some scratches, but it's quite a shallow area. Then you'll see some quite deep, sharp areas like this. That's a deeper, sharp dent. And that there, for instance, is a shallower area. I'm not bothered by the shallow spots. These were never flat from factory, and the rest of the car is rough as guts anyway. We just want to get rid of these little dark, hard spots, because they're going to show up like a little dent. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to use a lightweight filler for these little spots. We'll block again, one more prime. Now, next step is to try and get this thing with a reliable fuel system. Usually I just throw a jerry can under the bonnet. I'm probably going to end up doing that because I'm under the car now and all I can see is this fabbed up mild steel fuel cell and it doesn't even look like it's connected. Who knows how long this thing's been empty for. I was going to get under here, drop it and try and clean it out, but I can see this going one of three ways. Either these bolts are going to be so rusted they're not going to come out, or I'm going to get 3 out and the last one's going to get stuck, or they'll pull out easily and this thing might actually come out. So we're hoping for the last option. We'll see how we go here. I'm going to try one. If it fails, I might just go straight to plan B under the bonnet fuel tank. Deal with this later. Alright guys, so I quickly found my answer with this fuel cell. It is no way it's going to be used. Like it's impossible to be usable. So like the pipe itself is crushed. Like so fuel's never going to come through. And it seems like this fitting, which looks like a factory Ford style fuel pickup, is like it's actually the ring has been welded in place with this in the tank. So you cannot get it out to replace it, which it obviously needs replacing. So there's always something. I never go to the effort of pulling a tank out from the get-go. I always just go to the under bonnet fuel tank. First time I do, it stings me. All right, back to plan A. Under bonnet fuel tank. We'll worry about this shit later. Okay guys, so back up front of this thing. Giving up on the fuel cell scenario. That thing is an absolute heap of shit. So I'm gonna either source a second-hand one from Market Lonsdale, or we might throw a fuel cell in it or something like that, but that is another day's problem. We're going back to plan A, which is usually my always go-to, which is an under bonnet fuel system. My main purpose is just getting this thing running so it can just sit here and idle for sort of 20 minutes at a time, and I know that that is all running sweet. So I've now rigged up a little electronic fuel pump here, which I got through the boys at Raceworks, which I actually got a few months back for the F-150. We're now using it for this one because that pump worked sweet. So we're now use this for an under bonnet fuel system here, and it should be a turnkey scenario right now. Run on for at least 1.25 litres. Now we're going to address the next issue that's with this thing. It seems to have some water in the oil. No, I'm not going to go pulling heads off finding the problem. For now, just to get this thing on the road, we're going to hit this thing up with some Nulon mystery juice. Now, this is apparently guaranteed permanent head gasket, so that sounds good to me. We're going to pop a bottle of this in the radiator. Works fast, money back guarantee. What have I got to lose? Absolutely shit all. So I'm going to fire this thing up, let it idle for 1.25 litres. We're going to pop this in here in the radiator. I've just topped up the radiator with some fresh water, and I've got some El Cheapo oil in it just to get us by, and then hopefully we can seal this thing up and move on with the build. Let's hope this mystery sauce gets the job done. Okay guys, now I'm here with the Stone Guard. I've got this in a white finish. Now I'm absolutely determined to get this bonnet coated on the underside. The conditions are absolutely appalling, but I just want to get this thing down today so it has time to dry by tomorrow so we can move on with this build. Now this is hands down one of my top 3 favorite products to use on a car. Along with satin black, it hides all the sins. Now if you get your technique just right, this thing comes out with an absolute perfect finish every time. Now here you'll see me laying down a coat of Prepsol. I always like to do this before painting just to make sure that we're all nice and straight. As far as I know, this is the best way to find out how smooth the panel is before you start laying colour down. Don't get caught out. Okay, now it's finally time to lay down some 2-pack colour. We just picked a white out of the chart. It's close enough. We're going to get away with it. Now, of course, I'm not wearing a mask as per usual. I couldn't find it, but I only spray once in a blue moon, so she'll be right. right, managed to get it out. Absolutely pumped on that. The sun was out, which is nice, but it is blowing an absolute gale up here. Terrible conditions, and I could see the black clouds rolling back in, so we were super close to getting rained on, but really happy with the result. We ran inside really quickly, so hopefully you can still see the bonnet has come up really nice. Made it. All right, now we've got this Bronco mocked up as good as it's going to get. I have no brakes. I haven't even got a master cylinder in it, but I'm so itching to drive this car before the end of the video, because last time we drove it in the last video, that doesn't count. We want to have this thing working. I want to throttle unlike last time. So let's see how we go.
At least you're rolling.
Makeshift key has been installed. Seat still questionable.
Judge.
Quit while I'm ahead. We've got no brakes, and I had to drop into reverse to stop it. Absolutely stoked. This thing hums along so much better than I thought it was going to. So once we overcome a few Carby issues, which is breathing through the wrongly installed gasket, we're going to put a new spacer on it. This thing's going to run sweet. I'm absolutely stoked on that outcome. So good. All right, guys, so that is going to be a wrap on this week's episode of the Bronco. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to come back, subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye out for upcoming episodes. We're going to continue on with a heap more rust repairs. I've got some new floors put in this bad boy, and there's going to be a whole lot more to come. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all on our upcoming episode. Cheers, guys.